nostalgic favourite amongst many, mostly because it doesn't exist anymore. Oh well, at least we're still running the old Hockenheim. This is round 11, the German Grand Prix, of the 2014 FF1M season, and the full Yorkshire crew is with you because I'm being joined by Courtney Cass.
Hey up.
And James Whiteley.
Hey up.
So let's review the previous race, which went pretty horribly for all of us.
I'm trying to make this the most Yorkshire commentary yet.
I think the highest placed thing from Yorkshire was Sebastian Vettel in 5th place, I believe.
It was the worst race for Yorkshire since underdone Yorkshire puddings.
It's basically raw.
And cold gravy.
And the Yorkie bar that's melted in the sun. But the last race was won by Romain Grosjean for Pedersen, who pretty much dominated it. Pole position, fastest lap, and the win.
Yeah,
Did have Lewis Hamilton to sort out in the middle, but Hamilton was the only driver on a one-stop strategy. It helped him.
Yeah, he sort of faded towards the end, didn't he?
He did, yeah. And there's the map of Hockenheim. 4 long straights punctuated by 3 chicanes. And then the stadium section at the end.
Does anyone else just get a tingle when they see the circuit map of the
Yeah, I do. I mean, I don't care what people say. I love it. It's just so unique.
It's just so much more interesting.
Yeah, not particularly safe, but
There's just something romantic about blasting in between a ribbon of trees.
Yeah, going into the forest, and all the Germans would be camping and with I think they used to have bonfires and stuff, didn't they? It was pretty cool.
did they? Oh, I didn't know that.
So as you can see there, the Gajeras with the class of practice sessions, Hamilton and Kobayashi 1 and 2. I'm going to bet good money that you're not going to guess who's on the front row. Because we have a German on pole in front of his own race, but it's Adrian Sutil in the horizon.
Go on.
Courtney, you got excited then, didn't you, Courtney?
No. No, you said a German, and I actually didn't even consider the possibility. I'm not just saying that. I honestly sort of
Sainz in the GRM.
I didn't consider it.
Yeah,
we don't bother with qualifying.
Sainz joins him on the front row, which is certainly the strangest front row we've seen so far this season. And Hamilton third.
Do you remember the days when real F1 grids weren't just it's Mercedes by Verstappen?
It should be an interesting race. We've got Sebastian Vettel down in 12th. Could be worse because it is an all Yorkshire back row.
It's going well for me in this season. Christ alive!
There's no prizes for guesses who is going to be last, though. I think considering that Vettel's in 12.
Daniel Ricciardo is indeed last, and he's joined by Magnussen.
Perez in 19th.
I think there's some sort of coup going on here, some anti-Yorkshire.
Yeah, it's Yorkshire. So there's something dodgy going on.
Well, we'll see what happens in this race if there is indeed something dodgy going on, but I doubt it. And anyway, let's get ready for a start. You can see the red lights coming on in the top right, pole position on the right this time around. 5 lights on, and the 5 lights are out. And a good start from Sutil, a good one from Grosjean as well, who had a good launch. He's going to try and squeeze in between Hamilton and Sainz into the first corner. Nope, can't manage it yet, but Sutil leads as they go around the Nord curve onto the mile-long straight. Sainz is looking a bit racy. Senna's up to third. Where did he start? 6th on the grid. Good start from him. And Sainz is in the lead as we approach the Jim Clark chicane, or as I like to call it, the acid test. And what's going to happen here? Oh, I saw Willows.
Oh, God almighty, there's a GRM going flying in there. Oh, no, was it a Horizon?
Willows did bump into the back of a Horizon, which I think it was Di Resta. And there we see Grosjean challenging Sutil, pole sitter Sutil, Sainz, Senna, Grosjean, and there's going to be a big conflab going into the Ostkurve, probably. Hamilton is locking up.
He's been hit. He's been hit.
And that's cost Hamilton. And there's a Willows about to spin. It's Rosberg.
He's just hold it.
Just about holding on to that one. Rosberg on the hards. And random bit of fact for you, as Sainz goes into the Jim Clark chicane on these soft tyres, so that could explain why he's qualified so well. He has got Senna lurking up behind him.
It was like the amateur under-15s junior karting league, that. Everyone just smashing into each other all over the place.
a bit cleaner than I thought it'd be, actually. There's Senna, who's on the blue-ringed hard tyres. It's interesting to see the performance difference between Sainz and Senna as we go around the Sachs curve.
I got excited for a second at the start. I thought we were in the 89 season again. Senna P2.
That was technically your first win at Hockenheim when Senna won that one.
Was it?
Yeah.
I thought I'd won. Usually I used to always do well at Hockenheim before my engine blew up. That was usually the problem.
Hockenheim's a good circuit for me. I've won 5 times, but not as much as...
Why did you say that?
Sorry.
Yeah. Well, it's not as if he's any chance. Actually,
yourself.
Button's 5th, to be fair. Yeah, Button's up. Button. Yeah, I'd forgotten. I didn't see that Button was that high. Or did he just make a really good start? No, I think he was. Did he qualify?
Started 7th and is now 5th.
Oh,
As
right,
Verne has just taken Hamilton for 6th position on the straight, going into the Jim Clark. Here's Senna looking at the back of Sainz, going into the Ost curve. And moving to the inside, Sainz reacting a bit too late as Senna takes the lead of the race. But is Sainz going to do something about it?
He's going to do it. They're doing that. Nope. It's so annoying when your driver's the AI and you know they're going to screw the overtake up, isn't it? It's,
Speaking of which, not quite. Hamilton back up to 6th position ahead of Verne. And there was some action between Alonso and, I presume, Paul Di Resta going into the Ost curve, but no incident so far. There's Grosjean. Now he's going to try and challenge Sainz for 2nd position now through the Agip curve, as it was once called. And look at the rear wing on the back of Grosjean. You can see how skinny it is. That's a nice little aesthetic feature that AJ has managed to get onto that car.
Yeah.
Looks very skinny.
Low down or something.
Only available on some cars.
That's why I'm so slow, because I've got a bloody barn door rear wing.
AJ did say that it's no performance effect, it's purely aesthetic.
I'm not sure.
I am assured by the AFIA.
I'm gonna get done now for bringing the sport into disrepute, aren't I?
Gonna get docked points.
Yeah.
Espionage.
By the way, AJ, you're brilliant and awesome, and I won't say mean things about you like the other two. So make sure you give my Kaz a performance boost. Cheers.
Hey, look at Button. He's
up to 4th now. Yep, just taken Suttle on the straight approach in the Ost curve chicane, and just before that we saw Grosjean taking Sainz for 2nd. So now Grosjean is going to set off on the chase after Bruno Senna, who's having a good return to FF1M. Just set the fastest lap.
God, he's flying. Where did this performance come from?
It's like he's forgot his name's Bruno.
Yeah, he's jumped straight out of the dark fire from '89 and hopped into a time machine and jumped into the tornado.
Well, I should mention as well that Mitchell did a driver change, and it was the former Tornado driver Sebastian Buemi who's now driving the 2nd Mitchell. And he qualified 13th. Haven't seen him so far in this race, so he's had a bit of a quiet return. As Button now chases Sainz for 3rd position. And Hamilton having a look at Suttle.
Oh. The AI just don't go for it there, do they? They really they don't commit enough. But hopefully...
I think Suttle was defending fairly aggressively. There you can see Sebastian Vettel coming up to Jean-Eric Verne. So Vettel's had a good race so far, from 12th on the grid up to 9th. And now Button.
Button is looking really racy.
Button on these soft tyres. I think I've split the tyres in this race. I think Magnussen is on hards, Button is on the softs. So that might explain some of Button's good pace in qualifying and Magnussen's absolute catastrophe.
Yeah, Button's looking racier than the director's cut of Basic Instinct.
So anyway, Button is chasing Sainz through the Sud curve. He's looking quite close. I wouldn't advise an overtake going into the Nord curve because the next straight is pretty long, but he's having to go anyway.
He's going any. Yep. He's got all the hallmarks of an early shower, but no, it's all good.
But now Sainz is tucked back into the slipstream, and here we go. Let's have a look at the top speed.
God, they're nearly hitting 370. 380.
Jeez Louise.
Well, that's about that's 240 odd mile an hour, isn't it?
That is pretty nippy around the Straits of Hockenheim. Hamilton has just retaken Suttle for 5th position. And let's see further back. Alonso 7th, Verne 8th. Willow's not quick, it seems, because they qualified down in 10th and 11th. So that's a bit of an odd one.
It's a strange one. It's weird though. Historically, Hockenheim often threw up some weird results, didn't it? Even though you'd just think that the fastest and most powerful cars would rocket away, but there have been some surprising winners over the years.
Well, the last one we saw Perez versus Verne, and it was a pretty much race-long battle, and decided virtually on the last lap in the favour of Verne. He currently sits in 8th, but we're looking at Button taking 3rd now into the stadium.
Flying.
And look at Hamilton behind as well.
So someone's been doing something with the engine settings here. I'm highly suspicious.
Are you suggesting that I'm running higher engine modes for this race?
I am, and I'm suggesting we might see a fire at some point soon. Possibly on one of my guys, now that I've said that.
His name is James Bonotto Brickles.
No comment. As Hamilton's just taken Sainz now for 4th position. That was on the straight approaching the Jim Clark chicane. Now onto the Ostkurve straight. And here's Fernando Alonso looking at Suttle going into the 4th straight. And that looks like 6th position as they turn into the stadium. And that's Alonso on hards, Suttle on mediums. And just behind there, Jean-Eric Verne. And behind we've got Vettel and Bottas completing the top 10. Where did Bottas start? So 9th, now running 10th. So not great race for Bottas at the moment. And here's Hamilton, who is just a second behind Button. You can see the skinny rear wing on the back of the Gajera as he goes down the long straight. Let's see what he can do. Let's not. Let's look at Verne as he chases Adrian Suttle. That's speed. 383, 4, 5, 6.
My word. They're going to hit 3, 4. Oh, just so. If it was a bit more of a slipstream, you'd have hit 390 there. That's like 250 odd miles an hour. Maybe 250 or something like that.
Pretty mental speeds round here.
Yeah. One of the lap times are pretty quick.
The pole position here was a 1 minute 34.1, so they're going at some rate.
Yeah.
And I think pole, last time they raced on this variant, was a 139-ish by Montoya.
Yeah.
In real life F1.
I think, was it about the top speed whatever recorded was when he, I think was it Monza, wasn't it? Wasn't it Montoya in 2005 that he hit like about 240 odd?
235, I think. It was 371 kilometres an hour, which I think is around 232 miles an hour.
Yeah.
That is the metric translation for that is bloody fast.
I've actually just had a quick look because didn't he hit 389? That's 241 miles an hour apparently.
Whew.
In this race, yeah.
No, in this race, yeah. In this race, I meant. So they're hitting about 240.
Verne is on the move at the moment. Who's going to take Alonso for 6th position going into the stadium. And that is another position gained for the Tornadoes. Both Tornadoes in the top 6 now. And meanwhile, we did see Bottas ahead of Vettel now. So at some point, Bottas overtook the championship leader. And Vettel's going to have to find something.
The Tornado's strength is making me think that the weakness in the car this year, maybe it's the aero. I imagine this race is going to be the big bad engine boys will be at the front. So
then again, with engines, there could be quite a lot of reliability might be an issue here later on.
Could well be. They're running full throttle for quite a lot of the lap. Alonso retook Verne going down the mile-long straight going into the Jim Clark chicane. And at the moment he holds 6th position. Where is Verne in this war of slipstream? And that is Bottas versus Suttle going down the straight heading towards the Ayrton Senna chicane.
Battle for 8th. He's got it.
Favours Subtle, so he's defended that one successfully. Now Bottas has got Sebastian Vettel and Nico Rosberg all over the gearbox. Here comes Vettel.
Slam dunk, easy.
I was expecting the other voice to commentate on his overtake.
I was just waiting for the camera to sharply veer off to the left then after contact, but thankfully it's
this is FF1M Sebi, not F1 Sebi.
You'd just be spinning around if it was real life F1 Seb.
Oh, I feel bad. No, I hope he has a really good season at Aston next year.
This is going to be like, this is brutal. He's just going to, no, actually maybe not.
No.
Maybe now he's out of the slipstream, there's not as much of a speed
You've got
difference.
some horsepower under the... What engine have you got again? Is it the...
Megatron.
Oh, he's got him. You've got some power in the Megatron, though. He was even in this...
Wow.
I think he's running higher engine modes.
Let me just say
accusation of me running higher engine modes, and he's...
Well, it's alright for you two, all la-di-da with your engine. Alright for you two.
Slam dank is that, look at that. Jesus.
And now Rosberg's just taken Vettel. Have some karma.
Mugged.
It's alright for you two with your engine modes, me with a customer engine.
Now, who have we got behind Vettel? We've got Kobayashi, and there's a Mitchell, which I think could be Hulkenberg, but it could also be Buemi.
Sorry, I thought that was the Willows going wide there. Never mind.
Not quite. And here is Jean-Eric Vergne. We go on board with the Red Bull Gauloise-sponsored Tornado through the right of the stadium, and then that was third gear.
Basically, if you're not in a slipstream, you're going backwards. By the looks of it, it's almost like an oval race.
And we've still got Senna leading by 3.7 seconds now from Grosjean. Button now only 8/10 behind the British Grand Prix winner. I think he is closing the gap, so we could be seeing a battle for second position soon. As
I'm just feeling depressed.
Button is very aggressive in this FF1M world, though, isn't he? So it could all end in tears yet.
And he did make a bit of a clanger at Silverstone, where he was carried far too much speed at the last part of Beckett's and just crashed it.
Yeah, it's been pretty sensible so far, but...
Yeah, I think every driver's been very well behaved, which is very unusual for Hockenheim, because normally we see absolute buggery.
Yeah, like into that right-hander coming into the stadium section, normally there's at least 9 people who've just heaved it into the wall by now.
It was the 2003 race, which was the most carnage-ridden out of them all, where Albers just creamed into the back of D'Amata and then just sent him spinning around with no rear wing, and then more incidents and more chaos followed. I recommend anybody watching this to go watch that race, because that is beautiful.
I'll have to go and have a look at it. 2003. Was it 2003 German? Okay. I'll have a look. I remember I googled it at the time and I couldn't find it, but I later went through like AJ's YouTube channel and all the uploads, and most of them were in order. They just don't come up that well if you search it on YouTube.
It's actually combined with the Belgian Grand Prix in one video.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that might be why
I always keep looking for that one where the Spa, where which team was it? The two teammates collided at Eau Rouge and split in half.
It was the Andes. Yeah, I don't think they collided. They just had 2 separate incidents at the same corner.
Yeah, that was it. Look at Button though. He's looking really racy.
Closing up to Grosjean now for second position.
What have you been feeding that engine, mate? Jesus.
What have you been feeding Button?
Yeah.
What have I been feeding Button? He did ask for some no added sugar muesli, and he got muesli with added sugar, so that might be why he's driving quite well.
I think you've been feeding him chocolate buttons.
Yeah. I think it's been that cookie crisp stuff, or maybe even the dreaded Cocoa Pops.
Golden nuggets.
Oh, that's a step too far. You don't give a man golden nuggets without telling him.
Bottas just set a new fastest lap of the race and is close up to 1.8 seconds behind Vergne, who himself is not far behind Alonso, who himself is not far behind Sainz. So we could be seeing a 4-way battle for 5th.
It's actually pretty close to the top. In the top 8, there's only 13 seconds, but it's not. There's not a huge field spread, which often there is at Hockenheim.
And just looking in the background, I'm just trying to see that battle for 5th position. Sainz is thinking about defending. And has Button got enough of a slipstream coming down this straight? I don't think so. But then again, manufactured Judd engine versus customer Mugen. So Pedersen won't be running higher engine modes because they're a customer team.
It really does look. Just remind me how good that Renault car and livery looked that you've got on the FJR.
Yeah, it's a colour scheme.
2005. Yeah, 2000. It's just a 2005.
Senna, the race leader's just gone off at the Sud curve. Sorry to interrupt you there, Whiteley, but Senna has made a mistake.
It's much more important than my ramblings. What did he do?
It looks like just a pure mistake. Here it is through the Sachs curve, but it was at the next corner where we're going to see presumably an error. There it is, front right locking up, off onto the gravel, hopping a bit. You
can tell it's Bruno.
Yeah, he's just going to park it for a bit.
Yeah.
Why do they do that?
They're gentlemanly for some reason. So on board with Senna now, they can see understeer as he locks up and straight to the gravel trap. Stones flying about everywhere and not quite in time enough to stop Grosjean from taking the lead.
Did you say that's called the Sud corner?
Sud curve, so it just basically means the south curve.
Oh, right. I thought Sud was in like soap suds. I was wondering if someone had left a bar of soap. That's why he slipped off the road. As you were.
Well, we're just going through the Jim Clark chicane. Button's firmly in the slipstream now, so we're going to approach the Ost curve. Now he's got the inside, and he's got the overlap on Grosjean as before. We've hit the braking zone, and into the lead goes Jenson Button.
Why did I get rid of him?
He's carving his way through. Wow.
Why did I let him? Why is he not driving my car?
Because I got there first. But Grosjean is still in the slipstream. Can he do something about Button coming down? Probably not this straight, but to the one approaching the Ajip curve, which will be into the stadium. And let's look at the rest of the order as well. And X-Light's 16th and 17th, but the whole field's separated by just 30 seconds at 1/3 distance. So, yeah, you're right, Whiteley, in that there's not much of a field spread.
No, my guys, what's going on? I had such a good season last year as well. It's just.
And as soon as he overtakes Grosjean, Button sets a new fastest lap. So he's going to try and pull out a bit of a gap before making the first pit stop. Here's Sainz, who's due into the pits this lap, and he's got Alonso bearing down on him. Not quite close enough to make a move, but will probably be close enough in the next few straights.
One thing about Alonso in this series is he seems to be very strong in races and not that great in qualifying. He always seems to be making places, rather. He never seems to qualify all that well. But I guess that a bit like Alonso in real F1 wasn't really known for his absolute qualifying pace, was he really? But
on the contrary, Alonso has had about 5 pole positions this season.
Has he?
Yes.
Shows I've been paying attention.
Well, whenever he starts on pole, though, he crashes or retires from an engine failure or something like that. I'm
talking rubbish then. Okay.
It seems like whenever you do see him, he's carving his way through the field. It's like towards the start of the season where he had a lot of poles, he just had loads of really bad reliability.
I think I'm thinking of last season as well. It always seemed like he never qualified that well for me, and then his race pace was always really strong.
So we're going to be seeing Sainz into the pits this lap, and when we were looking at Alonso, you saw the pit indicator was red, and that means that his teammate is due in the pits this lap. So we'll be seeing Rosberg in the pits in very soon, as Hamilton, I think, pitting as well.
Very eagle-eyed of you there, Brickles.
You can tell he's a professional of the three of us.
And Hamilton being blocked a bit.
I'm very professional.
Blocked a bit, Hamilton. Hamilton being blocked.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Go on, lad. Yes, block him. Block him.
That is absolutely costly. Hamilton being delayed by the pit lane traffic. Who has that rejoined ahead? I think Sainz has jumped Hamilton. Indeed, he has. So that's gone.
That worked quite well for me because I think Vettel might have jumped him because he was stuck behind me.
Oh, Vettel definitely jumped him.
No, Vettel did come out behind. Vettel did come out behind, yeah.
But Vettel is a lot closer.
Sorry, Guy. I wasn't just hating on Hamilton there. I was hoping I could jump him.
It's an absolute flurry of pit stops on lap 16. Hamilton slowing down. And is he going to make the pits in time? I think he's got enough speed probably to do so. But Gajira's race goes from bad to worse. No, I think he's going to pull off.
To the pits. Now, is he going to heave into the wall?
Oh, out of petulance.
No loose tyres, though, like with, was it Hulkenberg last season? Where he heaved it into the wall, knocked a tyre off and caused a massive pile-up. Yes,
that was it, yeah. Engine failure, spear into the wall and nearly ruined his own teammate's race. So immediately after the pit stop, Hamilton has suffered once it comes up on the screen as the marshal pushes the car away. Electrical problems. So that's quite unusual, that.
That's a shock.
Hey.
I'm going to stop now, I'm sorry.
Who do you think you are? Jonathan Ledyard?
More pit stops there we can see.
What? Have you got a problem lately? You got a problem with me? You did say Jonathan Ledyard, right?
I did say Jonathan Ledyard.
Yeah. You've seen that video, haven't you? He's like, oh, there's a problem there.
I have, yeah.
He had a real thing for problems.
And up the hill, that was always one, up the hill. And discretion is the better part of valour, he'd say, about 3 times every race.
Was that Vettel dispatching of Kobayashi?
Yep, indeed, that's for 9th position. Kobayashi has pitted, so Vettel, that's an important move for him in this race because there's a few others that are still needing to make their first pit stop. Here comes Kobayashi.
Jesus Christ. Look at the overspeed.
Some straight line speed in the Gajira.
My God.
And just behind, there's Bottas versus one of the Mitchells. I'm not sure if it's Buemi or Hulkenberg, as into the pits comes Jenson Button from the lead. Is Grosjean going to follow, or is Grosjean going to continue for another lap? I haven't seen Grosjean come into the pits at this stage. No, he is in the pits. Grosjean in the pits as well.
So then, Courtney, which corner on the last lap is Jenson Button going to screw this up?
Very last one. Could you imagine?
I'm hoping I put the commentator's curse on it now. No, not really.
You probably have done, knowing my luck this season.
What about my luck?
That's not luck.
So Jenson Button rejoins, still in the lead after the pit stop, ahead of Roman Grosjean. Chandok's up to 3rd, but he is due in the pits this lap. So I was getting excited about the prospect of Chandok because he's one driver that we all universally like, as Vern is having a look at Alonso into the Jim Clark chicane contact.
That was petulance from Fernando. He just wouldn't concede that.
Slight wheelie from the Willows driver as Vern takes 5th position away from him. And now Vern's got a gap to try and close up to Sainz, who is quite a long way in front. Going through the Ost curve, there's Vern, there's Alonso, Kobayashi, Vettel, and just behind Vettel is the other GRM of Bottas. Chandok has made a pit stop.
Oh dear. That was optimistic, wasn't it?
A little bit optimistic in the midst of traffic. I think it was amongst the Andrew F1s. Here's Hulkenberg having a look at the Willows.
Oh dear.
Jeez Louise. What was that?
Dreadful driving from Rosberg.
That was yeah.
That was like Schumacher cutting in front of Frentzen in Canada 99 and Frenzen's just losing his shit completely. Just like, what? You see his hands going as he's spinning.
Yeah, that was a good one. That was it. Schumacher after was like, I didn't see him, but if it was a case, I had to excuse.
He saw him. He saw him.
Broken English always make things funny, doesn't it?
Yeah. And here we go. He's going to get absolutely slam dunked again, I think, here.
Vettel versus Bottas. This battle's been going on for pretty much the whole lap.
Is it going to be a case of broken English turns into broken wings? Nope, it's all clean.
And Bottas has got the measure of Vettel so far as he now sets his sights on 6th place Kobayashi, who's really benefited from the pit stop sequence. Gained a lot.
He has. God, it takes me back to the days of Kobayashi and Alonso together. It takes me back.
These GRMs are doing well.
Yeah, they've improved as this season's gone along. They were quite good at the start, but they've just gotten better as it's gone along. So Sainz up in 3rd, Bottas in 7th.
Got a fair grunt on them. And only one retirement still. Halfway through as well.
Yeah, and it's a big retirement as well in the form of Lewis Hamilton. And as we hit half distance, on board with Verne.
Yeah, I think though they'll start to come a little. There'll be a turning point where suddenly all the reliability problems will happen.
A raging battle as Verne took Sainz on the straight, and Sainz thought about having a go back, but not quite alongside far enough. So good battle between these two.
There are the podium, the sort of final podium spot is basically anyone's guess at this point.
No, it's not over yet.
Well, as you say, reliability could come into it. Here's Ricciardo versus one of the Excelites.
Oh my god, what is that car I can see?
Did one of the stewards let another car out? Oh, that's my other driver, of course, yeah.
Now look at the rear wing at the back of the X-Lite as well. That's very 2005 Ferrari, as Raikkonen gives the
I think it is a 2005. I think it is model on the 2005 Ferrari.
But the barcodes as well at the back. That's a nice little touch.
Yeah. I kind of want my own livery, but I just do not have the skills to do it.
What colour would you have your livery?
Well, you see, I've been doing this on F1 2020. I got it for Christmas and I've been doing some liveries. I've got a red. My current car is all red and then with a blue halo and blue rear wing, and it looks quite good. So maybe something like that.
Yeah. Look at that speed and power from the Tornado. They're definitely running higher engine modes.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was like a drag race between me and my Skoda versus any other car on the road.
What are we doing? Am I last? Is that last? Oh. I don't know what position I'm in, but...
Spaniard versus Spaniard now. This is Sainz versus Alonso for 4th position. Going into the Ost curve, Alonso, Sainz shutting the door very firmly, but Alonso not having any of it, as he now takes that 4th position away from his younger protege.
It's a nice livery, that, with it.
Verne! Jean-Eric Verne out of the race. Another reliability for a Tornado. No reliability issue for Tornado.
It's like suspension or something.
And that's a low front left, so is that a puncture that's happened?
It's a puncture, or suspension puncture, yeah.
It is indeed a puncture, and there's some racing going on between Ricciardo and Perez, and Senna shouldn't be doing that under yellows. Here is Ricciardo.
I am just...
Go on, you bastard, do something. Hey.
Oh, we made contact.
Oh, you absolute twat.
Have some of that, says Sergio Perez.
Oh, that was some quality chopping.
Ricciardo did move across.
He did that. That was his own fault. He did, yeah. And that was unprofessional of me to laugh in that way. Sorry.
If the roles were reversed, I would have done the same thing.
Well, I can't laugh really because I think I'm last and third to last.
Well, not anymore.
No, Ricciardo's last.
Ricciardo's last now.
Yeah, fair play.
Meanwhile, we've got this battle now between Bottas and Kobayashi. So now we've got both GRMs in the top 5. Great race for them. Here's Chandok versus Felipe Massa in the Andrew F1. That's been very quiet as the season gone along with Andrew F1. They've seemed to have slipped back in terms of developments, but look at that. Oh, Massa braking way too late and tagging Chandok. But Massa is the one who spins, and Chandok carries on his merry way.
That wasn't great driving.
And as Massa rejoins now, Sainz has got the Canadian Grand Prix winner Bottas closing up to him. They're going to be wanting to do some team orders soon because Bottas looks the quicker driver, has a podium in sight with Alonso not too far up the road.
This I could see a really good race for GRM turning ugly if this doesn't go well.
Well, funny you mentioned that, because in the 2008 race, we had both Guy Racings running second and third. It was Kubica and Klein. Both collided going into the Ost curve and lost wheels.
That's why you don't have Klein in your car.
I also recommend you go watch that.
What the hell happened to Christian Klein? I know he didn't. Was it 2007 his last season or something? He just disappeared off the face of the planet.
To be fair, he wasn't actually that bad. Yeah.
He was just one of those drivers that comes and goes, and you never really think about him ever again.
One of the many junior Red Bull drivers chewed up by the machine. Absolute
definition of a journeyman driver, really.
I think he came back and drove in the HRT in 2011 or something like that, and battered who else was in the other car. But I think the person in the other car was
He was teammates with Scott Speed, wasn't he, at Red Bull as well?
No, it's Coulthard.
So. No, yeah.
Oh, right, yeah, sorry.
Meanwhile, we just saw a spirited little battle between Sainz and Bottas. It looked as if Sainz was complying with team orders, but if team orders existed, but Sainz did re-slipstream back past Bottas going into the Ost curve and has a bit of a gap, and that's going to allow Kobayashi to catch up a little bit.
Yeah, these guys can keep fighting as long as they want, as far as I'm concerned.
It's a shame that we can't, as team bosses, sort of do team radio to the AI drivers. What the hell are you guys doing? Get out of the beeping way.
Now we've got more pit stops.
Trust me, you wouldn't want to hear that with my team radios. It would just be... Ricardo goes around the corner, "Yeah, crap!"
You'd have him retire a perfectly healthy car just so Vettel could gain one place, wouldn't he?
As Ricardo was about to win. On the cool-down lap, he's going around, "Oh, thanks, guys, for everything, for believing in me." I'm like, right, pull over.
If I may interrupt this chat, because Grosjean has made his second pit stop and has rejoined right into the battle right in the middle of this pack. He's got Kobayashi slipstreaming past. And if Grosjean is going to win his second race in a row, he probably made his pit stop a bit too soon. That was close, wasn't it? Now he's got Vettel lurking up behind him.
Yeah, I think he's going to get done here.
And side by side as we go down the straight going into the Ost curve, he's already got him. And is Grosjean going to do something about it back? No, he's been a bit tentative.
I was expecting him to throw one down the inside.
Not quite, as Bottas is closing up to Sainz once again. And they can see both GRMs. It's now the battle for third, but Grosjean has pitted. Everyone else has not.
Nico, he's had a quiet race, hasn't he, Rosberg?
Yeah.
Apart from taking out someone.
Alonso's definitely had the better rub of this race, because he's now second, due in the pits this lap. And down the straight goes Rosberg. And into the stadium he goes, where we've got lots of fans attending this race, kind of like the olden days, as into the pits now comes Fernando Alonso.
Thought he was pulling over to retire, then he was coming in so slow.
The II do some weird things in terms of pit lane stuff.
Well, it's an old game, isn't it?
Yeah.
It was a fantastic game for its time. The GP game, all the Grand Prix. Jeff Cranman, it was Jeff Cranman, wasn't it, who did all the Grand Prix series? They were. I mean, there's still a massive GP4 following, and that game is 20 years old now, more than that, maybe.
Yeah, 20 years old.
Yeah. So, I mean, considering people still play it and enjoy it and do league things, it's pretty... it was a great game for its time. I mean, people have modded it for years and years and years, so, no, I don't think anyone plays it like the base game.
Alonso versus Senna. Oh my goodness me, that is a flipping DeResta. That's...
Jesus.
Well...
No,
you're fine. And oh dear, that's a GRM. A GRM has knocked his front wing off. Vettel.
Please tell me that was Ricardo.
I'm not sure who it was. And Alonso's got that going again, but DeResta well and truly out of the race. So let's see, started by Alonso nerfing the back of Senna and then locking up and in the process of spinning and just catching DeResta in the exact wrong place. Very spectacular.
That was actually quite, for GP4 standards, that was actually not too bad in terms of realistic damage there for the GRM.
So Di Resta once again looking for accident of the year because he had that strange sideways perpendicular moment at Singapore caused by this man here, Jenson Button. Oh, Grosjean's engine's gone! So that's the battle for the lead gone.
Oh.
What did I say about reliability, guys?
It's starting to kick in now. So he's definitely not going to win his second race in a row.
And it was Vettel that hit the debris. Look, Vettel's disappeared off the timing screens.
It shouldn't do, because if he didn't hit it, it didn't look like it had done any damage.
I think Vettel got away with it. It was a GRM that knocked his bit of his front wing off. Which
no, look, Seb's in the pits now.
It could have been that driver there we're looking at, Valtteri Bottas, who knocked part of his front wing off on that errant wheel.
Vettel definitely took damage.
Ooh, an Exolite might be looking racy for once.
Well, Kimi Raikkonen's moved up to third position somehow, but...
Oh, what? I didn't even spot that. That's amazing.
Could well be during the pits soon, though. But I'm not 100% sure. He's up to second. He's just past Bottas for second position. Oh. So the GRM we saw was Sainz.
How? What? He must be during the pits.
Could be, as Sebastian Vettel is now... There he is in sixth position, challenging at fifth place Rosberg, who've just made a pit stop. And that is a position gain for Vettel, up to fifth. So damage limitation is on.
I am confused. What the heck is Kimi doing in second? He mustn't have not pitted, right?
I assume so. Yeah, maybe he's just pitted now.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. I thought it was too good to be true.
So here we're looking at Nico Rosberg in fifth position, now challenging fourth place Vettel because of Raikkonen's pit stop. Kobayashi's moved up to third, so whatever has happened in the last few laps has really shaken up the order behind Jenson Button, because we got Bottas second, half a minute behind Button, Kobayashi third, Vettel fourth, Rosberg fifth, Sebastian Buemi for the Mitchells moved up to sixth, Alonso seventh, and Suttel in eighth.
I think Nico's going to do Vettel at some point. Not Vettel, sorry. Yeah, it is. Yeah,
it is.
The battle for fourth position.
You need to get in the back of that Gajera, Sebby boy.
Let's see, 1.4 seconds down as this lap started, but Rosberg's firmly in the slipstream. Not enough of a slipstream here, but possibly.
I'm just pretty tense right now.
And a new fastest lap for Jenson Button, who has somehow managed to gain half a minute on the field. On board with Rosberg.
I don't want to tempt things, but when was your last win, Brickles?
Long Beach of 2012.
Crikey.
And that was with Kimi Raikkonen at the wheel. It was a wet, dry race. We've not had a wet race since Spa last season.
It's not that long in the grand scheme of things, because in real F1 we're lucky if we get one wet race a season now.
Wasn't there a time in the 80s was it 86 there wasn't a single wet race, and then I think there was a period in the late 80s where there was at least...
I can tell you exactly when it was.
Yeah. It's weird how it goes that there's less wet races now. It's like there's for people saying there's a theory of Rosberg inevitably passes Vettel. There's a theory that like the heat kicked out over the circuit by these more hardcore cars now makes weather fronts dissipate or something like that when they hit the circuit. I don't know if there's any truth to it, but
that sounds a little far-fetched, but maybe.
It doesn't seem like it does seem like we get less wet races these days. And the amount of times where you're looking at the weather map and it's it's gonna rain. Oh no, it's just missed the circuit. Oh, it's just disappeared as it just got over the circuit and that. But then it might also be TV editing trying to manufacture some excitement.
I'm not sure. I don't think that theory holds much weight, but who knows?
Probably not.
I'm not an engineer, so. So right, when's this FJR going to break down then, lads?
Well, we're looking at him a bit earlier than I'd hoped.
3 laps left.
We also saw Senna and Suttel have a pretty good battle going into this corner here on a previous lap. And Rosberg steadily pulling away from Vettel and closing up to Kobayashi for third position, so we could still have a battle for the final podium place. Button first, Bottas second. Last time that happened was in Canada, and we all know how that ended.
No, I'm all joking aside.
I've got my fingers crossed. Yeah,
I've got my fingers crossed. I want to see him do it. I mean, I want to see Kimi Räikkönen win, but I think that's possibly slightly unlikely.
Well, we've got 3 laps to go. Here is Rosberg turning into the stadium. He's off the track, Rosberg! And he's lost a wheel as well. That is a costly mistake from Rosberg.
Absolutely Bottlberged it.
Yeah. He didn't even nearly make that.
And he didn't really need to do that either.
Okay, so...
That was a classic, just completely forgot about the concept of braking zones.
Absolutely. So that's put Kobayashi in a very safe 3rd position. Vettel now 4th, so damage limitation working really well.
Don't say that. Right, last lap, isn't it?
Last lap, and here's Jenson Button going on his way into the Jim Clark chicane. And quite fitting, actually, because in Season 4 of the Masters era, this is where I took my first win with that very driver at the wheel.
So will this be your 6th win at Hockenheim then?
It will, yeah. So I've had 5 wins. Jenson Button, I've Coulthard in 97, Häkkinen in 99, then Nick Heidfeld in 03, and Alonso in 08.
Wow. Oh, damn, worked. Yeah.
Well, we're not home and dry yet.
No, I'm remembering the Canada hairpin. And
there's still time for an Angel Mansell-esque screw up a la Canada 91 yet.
Yep. Or a Patrese in 92 at Hockenheim when he tried to take second off of Senna and then spun off at this corner. No such problems for Button. And just 3 or so more corners to go, rounding the Sachs hairpin. And from 7th on the grid, this has been a pretty good drive from him because he's had to power his way up to the front, and once he did that, he's pretty much just pulled away out of the final corner, and it's going to be Jenson Button who takes FJR's first win since 2012.
There's marshals on the track. They think it's all over. It is now.
Is that Jenson's second win in FF1M then? How many wins has he had?
I can't remember when the last time Jenson Button won a race.
Because he won the it was in it was a Hungaroring, wasn't it? When I did he said he might never win a Cup.
That was Bottas.
No, that was Bottas, sorry, yeah.
Speaking of which, Bottas takes 2nd position for GRM, another good result for himself, and Kobayashi gets a podium.
Well done, Kamui. Well done. Yeah,
that's an interesting... Now, that's an interesting podium, isn't it? It's not a podium you see every day, that.
And Vettel takes 4th, and Buemi 5th. Great result on his return to FF1M, having been absent for 1 race. Good effort. And Alonso 6th. Senna takes 7th in the end, but could have been a win had he not gone off at the Sud curve. And Pole Sitter Suttle finishes 8th, just didn't have the pace.
Talking of didn't have the pace...
Gone off. Sorry, carry on, Whiteley.
I was going to say, talking of not having the pace, there's Kimi in 9th.
Well, that was not bad, actually, considering
actually,
it was quite far back.
Yeah, considering. Still. Yeah.
What happened to Sainz?
He collected the debris from the Resta accident.
And maybe Vettel did get away with it then. I saw him in the pits.
That was just a scheduled
he definitely didn't get any damage. He definitely didn't get any damage that was visible from hitting the tyre.
Maybe he was just due in the pits that lap.
Yeah,
maybe he was, yeah.
And they can see retirements. Verne, another unfortunate problem for Tornado there, and Hamilton, an electrical problem immediately after his first stop. So, Vettel extends the lead of the championship by now 7 points over Hamilton, and Rosberg, despite the crash, now still sits 3rd, but look at Bottas, he's only 4 points behind him.
How many points has Ricciardo got then?
Not a right lot. I think he's got 4 points.
Who Who has?
Daniel Ricciardo.
Okay, not heard of him.
He's got 6 points. Vettel's on 72 and Shakenbaker on 78. So Ricciardo's got 6 points, which, look at that. Willows are 13 points in the lead now over Shakenbake. Shakenbake closing in a little bit, and Gajera 4 points behind Shakenbake. So GRN now sit 4th, and FJR move back up to 5th, with Pedersen 6th, and the top 6 teams have all won races. Expecting big things from Exolite in the next race.
Yeah.
Well, you never know.
I was about to say, Shake and Baker having a really good season, but what I meant to say is Vettel's having a really good season.
Absolutely. So, that was the German Grand Prix. Next up, we will be heading over the border to Austria for the A1 Ring. So from the three of us, see you soon.
Cheerio.
Auf Wiedersehen.